Hello, today I would like to show you how to make your own dice tower for about $6 or $7 from items you can buy at the local big box store. And I've been making these for a little while and kind of enjoying them. Randomizes my dice. And if you'd like to see what a dice tower does, you just pour the dice into the top, it randomizes them and spits them out the bottom. Now, let's see, how do we do this? Well, I was inspired originally by a guy who built one expediently from a Pringles can. He took the can, cut a few angled cuts into it, stuck some cardboard in each of the cuts, and then the dice would roll down and come out the bottom of his Pringles can. So my prototype is a little bit like that. It's the first one I built, and I'm still using it to experiment with. It's a piece of PVC tubing, stuff you get from 10-foot lengths at one of the big box home stores or your local hardware store. This one is 2 inches. I've been sticking with 2 inches. It's what I've had around. It's a nice size. Any size die will make it through there. It's stiff enough to stay nice and tall. And a piece of 10-foot, 2-inch Schedule 40 PVC runs not quite $7. So we're talking 70 cents a foot, and it's a lot of nice solid plastic that'll last forever for 70 cents. The other 2 pieces I buy from the home store are this item. This is a 2-inch by 2-inch by 2-inch cleanout, I think they call it. Excuse me. And I use it as a base. As you can see here, that's the base of my dice tower. It gives the whole tower a lot of support. It's very solid down on this plane, so it'll hold a nice tall tower and spit the dice out the side, a little bit elevated, so you can fit your tray under there like I did here. Just fits your tray, and the dice well, honestly, when you first buy it, the dice won't come out the side. So this is the first part I modified because I knew I was going to have to do something here. And so what I've done is I've taken a piece of water bottle, one of these half-liter personal size water bottles. I've cut off the top and the cap, don't need that after I drank it, of course. Took off the label and then cut a piece about L-shaped out of it here. So cut up, over, and around, and got a nice piece like this one right here that will simply fit up inside there and bend upwards. So I've done that, and that's what's in here now. And what I like about this is that it has these ridges in this particular type of water bottle. So these ridges, as the dice come flying down, will hit and hopefully continue to tumble a little bit more even and make it that much more random. So dice come through there and out, and that's part 1, the base. Part 3, the top, is a 3-inch to 2-inch adapter. It's optional. It's the most expensive part of this dice tower. It's a little over $3 for one of these as of middle of June 2014 at the big hardware stores. Anyway, nice thing is it fits on one of these tubes perfectly and makes it really easy to throw your dice. It's almost like a funnel compared to trying to roll your dice through a much smaller opening on the 2-inch. So we've got the base, we've got the top. The middle part is the fun part, because that's the part where you can use your imagination and decide just how much violence you want to give your dice rolls before they come out the bottom. I made a couple of different versions. I started, like I said, on my prototype. My first attempt was to take a hacksaw and cut this bottom thusly so that it had this beveled cut. Problem with that is it doesn't stand. And so I had to hold it like the Pringles can guy does. Sort of hold it up like this and run the dice through it. It's fine. If all I had was 20 minutes before game time and I had to build something, I would have done it like this. I also have taken the hacksaw and run some angled cuts through it, here and here, and spin it around 180 and one here. And then what I did was I took some cardboard and popped it into each of these cuts. Just took some regular sheets of cardboard and popped it in here, and then took a pen and just ran it across carefully, and then took the cardboard back out, trimmed the piece off, and put it back in. So the pieces are nice and trim, flush against the body of this tower. At a later time, I made an attempt to put some screws directly into the dice tower. The screws are not a bad idea, but this particular attempt didn't work too well because dice kept getting stuck between these guys. So I made some modifications, which you'll see in a moment. And now we have dice that flow through the screws just beautifully. But first, back to the flipper style. This particular dice tower here has 3 flippers like my prototype does. But I went from using cardboard to using a clear plastic. And I found this plastic basically like in my recycle bin. This is the lid from a grocery store's salad bar or ready-to-eat entree, or maybe the bakery section. Anyway, it was a lid to a plastic or aluminum pan that contained the food. And so this has about the right amount of stiffness it gives, but it's not going to wear and tear. So that's what this flap is made of. And so I cut the squares out of that, insert them into the opening here. You see that's the straight part goes in. And then again, run my pen around the excess, pull it out, trim it, and put it back in. And it's now flush with the body. And so in this particular case, I've got 3 flaps in there. I don't know if you can see that clearly or not, but the 3 flaps are clear. They've got a little black paint on them in this painting attempt, but they are clear, and you can see down to the bottom of this particular tube. This one here is a little taller. I made a longer piece of pipe, not quite this long, but you can use imagination. Made 5 flaps. 2 of them are at like 90-degree angles from the other 3 that are back and forth. So the dice really have to zigzag and go crazy to come down this tube and out the bottom. And finally, the screws. This is now a working prototype of the screw concept. What I've done is put a screw in here, and then that's near the top, here halfway down the side, and then here near the bottom. And instead of putting them straight in, I had to put them straight in just a little bit till they caught into the plastic, and then I back it out, put it at an angle, and then screwed it in at an angle so that when the dice fall through, they hit the screws, gravity takes over, pushes them down to the next area, and it's really a wild ride for dice that go through this particular type of mechanism. So you can use the flaps, you can use the screws. These are, let's see, 1.5" screws, I believe. Maybe 1 3/4. But anyway, so you take base and a body at the top. You can mix and match them. Here's a tray, and you can run all kinds of dice through this. Your Dungeons and Dragons dice will go through this just fine. Even the 3-cornered ones, and all your 20-sided and 12-sided ones, and of course your 8s and a million of these D6s. They all run through this just fine. And so I'm hoping that you think about making one of these for yourself. An expenditure of $5–6 total for one of these. A few upfront costs with maybe buying a 10-foot section of pipe and maybe having some of your friends make their own from that as well. So, water bottle, pieces of plastic, this thing, and some screws, and these pieces from the local big box home chains. And make them as long as you want. Have a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.